Earth's Deathworlders answered. The distress signal had been broadcasting for 17 cycles when it finally reached the Galactic Council chambers. Elsa, a young human diplomat stationed on Coordination Prime, watched the holographic display flicker to life, showing a desperate Quilarian colony under siege by mechanical horrors from the void. "Please," the transmission crackled, "anyone who can hear this, we are dying. The harvesters have breached our defenses. Our children hide in the deep shelters, but we have perhaps 2 solar days before—" The message cut to static, then looped back to the beginning. Elsa turned to the assembled representatives, her blue eyes reflecting the emergency lights. "We need to respond immediately. How many ships can we mobilize?" The Valorian delegate, a being of pure crystalline energy, dimmed apologetically. "The Council cannot authorize military action without a full debate period. Minimum duration, 6 cycles. 6 cycles? Elsa's voice rose in disbelief. "They'll be dead in 2. The Quilarian ambassador, an elderly creature with 4 arms and sorrowful eyes, bowed his head. "We have already petitioned the warrior races. The Krell say the distance is too great for their hibernation pods. The Thaxian Empire claims it would violate their neutrality pacts." His voice cracked. "No one is coming." Elsa stood frozen, her mind racing. Around the chamber, the galaxy's most advanced civilizations offered sympathetic gestures but empty solutions. They spoke of protocols, of jurisdictional boundaries, of risk assessments. They spoke of everything except action. She remembered why humans had been such a curiosity when they'd first joined the galactic community. While other species had evolved on worlds of moderate temperature, gentle gravity, and abundant resources, Earth had forged humanity in fire and ice, in predator-filled jungles and toxic atmospheres. What the galaxy called a death world, humans called home. "Then Earth will answer," Elsa said quietly. The chamber fell silent. "Impossible," the Valorian delegate pulsed. "Your nearest military vessel is 8 cycles away at maximum FTL, and humans, forgive me, are not known as warriors. Your diplomats, scientists, artists—" "We're survivors," Elsa interrupted. She was already moving toward the exit, her communicator active. "And apparently that's more than the rest of you can say." John had been expecting the call. As captain of the Endurance, a human deep space mining vessel, he'd learned to recognize that particular tone in Elsa's voice, the one that meant someone needed help and everyone else had found excuses. "How bad?" he asked, pulling up the navigation charts. "Mechanical swarm, designation, harvesters, approximately 40,000 units, civilian population, 3 million Calarians, defenses failing, 2 days. We're 6 days out at best." "I know." A pause. "John, no one else is even trying." He looked at his crew. 37 humans who'd signed up to drill asteroids, not fight wars. Mining engineers, ore processors, a botanist keeping their small hydroponics bay alive. They were listening, and he could see the answer in their eyes before he asked the question. "Patch me through to every human ship in this sector," John said. "And Elsa?" "We're coming." The Quilarian sensors picked up the first human vessel 53 hours after the distress call. Not a warship, the Endurance was a civilian craft, scarred and battered from years of mining operations. Behind it came more: cargo haulers, research vessels, even a luxury yacht that had been 3 days into a pleasure cruise. 42 human ships in total, not a single military vessel among them. The harvesters, detecting the new arrivals, redirected a portion of their swarm. 10,000 mechanical units, each designed to disassemble and process organic matter, turned their attention skyward. John watched them come. "All ships, this is Endurance Actual. Remember, we don't need to win. We just need to give them time." The mining ship shuddered as it released its payload. Not weapons, but mining charges. Hundreds of explosive devices meant for cracking asteroids now detonated in the Harvester formation. The mechanical swarm scattered, reorganized, adapted. But adaptation took time. The research vessel Darwin deployed its atmospheric probes, reprogrammed to emit electromagnetic pulses. The cargo haulers became makeshift rams, their reinforced hulls designed for navigating debris fields, now smashing through mechanical clusters. The luxury yacht, of all things, used its powerful communications array to broadcast noise across every frequency, jamming the Harvester's coordination signals. "They're not stopping," someone reported. "New formations emerging." "Then we slow them down more," John replied. He knew the mathematics. 42 ships against a swarm that had already overwhelmed planetary defenses. The smart play was retreat. The safe play was to wait for proper military response. But John had learned something in his years among the stars. The galaxy was full of species who'd evolved in safety, who'd never had to fight for survival against their own planet, who'd never had to innovate or die. They were advanced, yes, peaceful, certainly. But when faced with chaos, they froze. Humans, forged on a world that had tried to kill them for millennia, simply adapted. The Endurance dove into the atmosphere, using the planet's own gravity and electromagnetic field to scatter another wave of harvesters. Other ships followed, turning physics itself into a weapon. They weren't soldiers, but every human understood the fundamental principle: survive long enough to save someone else. Elsa watched from orbit as the impossible unfolded. The 42 human ships, mining craft, research vessels, converted civilian transports held the line. They took damage, yes. The Marathon lost its entire port section. The Curiosity burned through its hull plating. 3 ships went dark entirely, their crews evacuating in escape pods that the remaining vessels scooped up even while under fire. But they held, and in those desperate hours, Quilarian defense forces regrouped. Civilian shelters completed their lockdown. Children were moved to the deepest sanctuaries. When the planetary defense grid finally came back online, the Harvesters found themselves caught between rejuvenated orbital platforms and ships crewed by humans who simply refused to accept defeat. The tide turned. 6 cycles later, when the Galactic Council's Rapid Response Force finally arrived, they found the Harvester swarm destroyed and 42 human vessels holding position over a grateful Quilarian world. The ships were held together with emergency patches and spare parts, their crews exhausted but alive. The Valorian delegate's avatar appeared on every screen, dimming in what Elsa had learned was their species' expression of shame. "We miscalculated. We thought proper military response was required." John, his face covered in soot from an electrical fire, gave a tired smile. "You were partially right. You needed warriors." He gestured to his crew, to the mining engineers and scientists and ordinary people who'd answered a call no one else would. "You just didn't understand what makes someone a warrior." Elsa stood beside the Quilarian ambassador, watching rescue operations continue below. The elderly alien placed one of his 4 hands on her shoulder. "Your people came from a death world," he said softly. "We always thought that made you fragile, unprepared for civilized space." "And now?" Elsa asked. "Now I understand. Your world didn't make you fragile." He looked at the battered human fleet, still holding formation, still ready to fight if needed. "It made you unbreakable." The distress call had reached the entire galaxy. Thousands of species had heard the plea for help, had debated and discussed, and ultimately decided it was someone else's problem. But only the Deathworlders answered. And that, as word spread across the Galactic Council chambers and through 1,000 civilizations, changed everything.